Hey there, welcome to the garden. I have a whole bunch of plants here that are all cold weather plants. So plants that hopefully, unless we get a really cold freeze this winter, will be able to survive the entire winter in my garden here in zone 7A. So I'm really excited about all of these. We may be getting into the kind of real fall cold weather season, but there's still lots of stuff that you can grow. And if you are in a zone 7A like me, there's all kinds of cabbages, ornamental kales, violas, even ivy. These should all make it through hopefully our winter. Last year we got one really big cold snap and it killed a lot of things, but this year I'm hoping it'll be a little warmer. So I've got this purple pigeon, which these get absolutely huge. They can be so stunning. There were a bunch of really big ones. I mean, I swear they were like 2 feet across at the garden center and almost iridescent purple in the middle there. So really beautiful. But I'm gonna let these hopefully grow up a little bit. But I wanted to put them in some containers, so I didn't want to get the ones that were too huge. And then I just picked up a bunch. I think there's 12 in here, pack of some ornamental kales. So those will really get growing up and be pretty as well. And there's kind of looks like some more green white ones and then some purple ones that will tie in nicely over here with the cabbages. And then I grabbed a couple packs of violas. So this is an autumn sorbet, autumn select mix. I've got a few of those from that mix already in some containers. So just some nice, reds and yellows and so forth. And then I did grab a whole pack of these yellow violas. So this is the penny yellow blotch, because they've got that really pretty like black blotch in the center. So my thought with the yellow violas is that I'm planning on these wintering over. They're gonna be really pretty in the fall here, bloom in the fall, but then they'll also winter over and be still blooming in the spring. And I felt like yellow is probably kind of like the perfect color if you want to go from fall to spring, because although it looks really fall-like, it's very much this time of year, especially with that really pretty black like blotch in the middle. It does definitely look fall-esque, but it'll also translate really nicely to spring. With Easter and everything, yellow is such a traditional spring color. So I think it's kind of the perfect color to go from fall to spring if you're like me and you're planning on these being a real long season flower. So that's why I grabbed the yellow, and I'm going to work a few of my containers with just the yellow violas, maybe a little bit of blue, just like yellow and blue violas, so that it kind of really transfers over from this time of year and will hopefully last, the full winter. So that is the plan with those. And then I did grab some ivy. Ivy is super pretty and kind of like, if you want that traditional English gardeny sort of look, and ivy will kind of lend itself to that. And I think it's especially pretty at Christmas time. I don't quite know why, but there's just something about ivy that really just looks sort of Christmassy. Maybe it's that like old, like, those English stories, Christmas Carol kind of stuff. I don't know what it is, but this is a yellow ripple English ivy, and I just grabbed it because it was a nice 6-pack of pretty big plants. They had it over at my local Lowe's, and so I figured, you know what, let me just grab those because I can put these as a nice spiller in my fall winter containers. Cold weather crops, there's not quite as many things that spill. We got a lot of these like rosettes, the cabbages, although violas will kind of trail a little bit, but this is like the real traditional serious spiller. I also have a couple topiary forms, and I'm thinking I might try to grow some of these on some topiary forms. We'll see. But now the real like kind of garden layout decision making. So this has sort of been the fall like display that I've got going on right now, and we're still here in October. It's not quite yet Halloween, so I'm not like ready to do a full transition over to Christmas stuff or anything. So I am going to keep like my beautiful corn that's just every day as it dries out turning a more gorgeous color. This is the Martian Jewels corn. So it's pretty. Just becoming like, as it dries, it's just turning this beautiful color. It's a little wet right now because we had a ton of rain yesterday, so it's looking a little bit wet, but it's just lovely. Of course, I want to keep my pumpkin tower through, the whole pumpkin season. But I've got these containers that have, these are like my wash bin containers, and the petunias and everything are just looking sad. So my thought is actually to pop the coleus into some separate containers. I will keep them until the frost takes them out because they're beautiful for fall. But I'm gonna take them out of these wash bins, and I'm actually gonna replant these for fall winter with some of the ivy, the cabbages, the kales, and the violas, and just rework this fall display a little bit so that I can have those wash bin containers in here. So that's my process. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'll just put the camera up on a quick time lapse. I'm gonna move all of these containers out of here, move them away. We'll take out the coleus and put them in. I've just got a couple small containers. We'll just put the coleus in some small containers, and they can be part of the display, and then they can be easily pulled out once the frost hits because they won't handle any kind of frost. And then I will put together the container with all of the cabbages, I guess, and we'll get that all set up, and I'll show you what I decide to put the recipe specifically for those. But let's just kind of redo this. These plants are not saving. The Angelonia still looks kind of pretty. I could pot that if I want to, so I'll keep that one maybe. And then I'm just gonna reuse this potting mix because the coleus is only gonna last a couple more weeks. So don't really need a ton of fresh potting mix for it. Plus this was super fresh when I planted these. I'm just gonna pop them in a smaller pot here. And then put others in. There we go. Now it's in its own pot, and it can just become part of the fall color. All right, so here it is for now. I ended up moving the coleus to the back there just to be some fall kind of color and backdrop, but I wanted to make sure there was enough room for the peas, that they were getting enough air and enough sunlight. I didn't want to get them to be too shaded out by the coleus, since the coleus is not going to last. But look at how fun these containers look. I love just a single container of cabbage. If you want a really pretty mono container, just the cabbage is great, but then this is also going to be so fun. It's not going to grow too much because we're here in the fall, so I did pack it pretty close together and just make sure that everything looks full from now on. And then here's the other one. Hopefully we'll get some more blooms on these violas and they'll fill in a little bit. But given that it's the fall, things don't tend to grow too much, you know, daylight, there's not much daylight, it's getting colder. But this way it looks full, and we've got some pots of violas, and then of course all the arugula and the greens and all of those crops for salads and such. And then the corn is still gorgeous, just sitting here in the back. And then when that season's done, we can pull that out easily, and it shouldn't be, you know, just a problem to move that. I still have some extra plants left over, some extra violas, some kale. I'm probably going to do some of that in the in-ground portion here. I just moved a couple of the containers that I had from summer into this like landscape area, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do exactly about that. I think they look okay. They kind of fill in this area. It looks a little bit wild, but it's kind of nice for now. That avocado plant looks really pretty under here, and then I may end up moving this container. It's so beautiful. I don't want to take it apart, but it's also like kind of, I don't really have a place for it anymore, but it's the cloyas, the jigsaw pepper, and the eucalyptus. This was the most beautiful container. I'll just give you a little look at it. I started this whole thing from seed, which is actually pretty cool too. And it's been such a fun one, and just all foliage, but really beautiful. And just kind of like these muted tones. So I really love that container. I guess I'll just leave it there. It's not really doing too much. There's a few perennials in here, but I don't think I need to worry about them being shaded out too much. And then of course the black and blue salvia, the bees and pollinators are all over this one. So I don't want to, you know, take that down either. And that'll handle a little bit of like a light frost usually. So I just thought over there in the corner and add some flowers, and that's nice. So that is the latest from the garden. Stay tuned because I do have some of those extra plants, so I will probably go ahead and make some more containers, and I will share that process with you as well. As always, thank you so much for spending a little time out here in the garden, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.